Joel 1. The word of the Ishi that came to Joel, son of Factual. Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Did this ever happen in your days, or in the days of your fathers? Tell ye of this to your children, and let their children tell their children, and their children to another generation. So that's 5 generations. You tell your children, it's 1. And let your children tell their children, it's 2. Tell their children, it's 3. And their children to another generation, 4 generations. Look at it. Which is the palmer worm hath left, the locust hath eaten, and that which the locust hath left, the Baruch, how do you pronounce that? Name of that beetle?
Brucus.
Brucus, that was another beetle. You find it in Europe. Was it Australia, Africa, and North America. We looked that up before. Hath eaten, and that which the Baruch hath left, the mildew does destroy. Awaken, ye that are drunk, and sweep and mourn, all ye that taketh delight in drinking sweet wine, for it is cut off from your mouth. For a nation is come upon your land. I misread that. For a nation is come upon my land, strong and without number. His teeth are like the teeth of a lion, and his cheek teeth as of a lion's whelp. So what, just a young lion? His cheeks are like the teeth of a lion's young. So that's like, yeah. Because think about it, like if you ever had a puppy or a young cat, their teeth are like the sharpest, right? yeah. Those are when they're the sharpest and they like cut through. Okay, they're not dull from years of chewing. He hath laid my vineyards waste, and hath pulled off the bark of my fig tree. He hath stripped it bare and cast it away. The branches thereof are made white. A call to mourning. Let's see. Lament like a virgin girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. Sacrifice and libation is cut off from the land, from the house of the Ishi. The priest, the Ishi's ministers have mourned. The country is destroyed. The ground hath mourned. For the corn is wasted. The wine is confounded. The oil hath languished. The husbandmen are ashamed. The wine dressers have howled for the wheat and for the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. The vineyard is confounded, and the fig tree hath languished. The pomegranate tree, and the palm tree, and the apple tree, and all the trees of the field are without, because joy is withdrawn from the children of men. Now that is interesting, because I got a video I have to share now. I'm gonna have to share this because verse 12. Let's see. Because there was this video I had watched. It was talking about the idea of the rainforest in the Mayan territory, not Mayan, the Inca territories. And now it's all, it's always been these rainforests And Native Americans never believed in cutting down trees. The Mayans, or why do I keep saying Mayans? The Incas never believed in destroying the rainforest, and they've always left it this way. And they were showing that the settlement and rivers show a different story. That in fact, all that jungle that they keep showing, it used to be farmland. That the settlement from what is it called there? The pollen from the plants in the earlier stages when they get blown around from the wind, when they settle, and especially when they settled in the rivers, they leave a bed there. And when they were able to dig into the rivers and dig to certain portions of the levels in the river and pull up the settlement, they were able to They were able to find out that the pollen that was being blown around was not tree pollen from the trees that were in the area. They found, pollen from from corn and pollen from fruit trees. That what they were doing was they would use every so often, they rotated the vegetation that was growing there so it would attract different animals to come live there. So they had different versions of animals to hunt. Excuse me, because those different animals would attract another animal that would hunt them, and then they would be able to hunt that animal, and so on and so forth. So that was interesting there. Gird yourself and lament, O ye priests, howl, and ye ministers of the altars, go in. Lie in sackcloth, ye ministers of my Elohim. Because sacrifice and libation is cut off from the house of the Eloha. Let's see. Sanctify ye a feast, call an assembly, gather together the ancients, all the inhabitants of the land, and to the house of your Eloha, and cry to the Ishi, aha, 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 for the day, because the day of the Ishi is at hand, and it shall come like destruction from the mighty. Is it not your food? Is not your food cut off before your eyes? Joy and gladness from the house of your Eloha? The beasts have rotted in their dung, and barns are destroyed. The storehouse are broken down, because the corn is confounded. Why did the beasts groan? Why did the herds of cattle woe low? Because there is no pasture for them. Yea, and thy flocks of sheep are perished. See, these last two verses, 17 and 18. 17 makes me think of that one of the Simpsons episodes where they were like, the cows were fed cows, and then they go on to talk about how the cows were fed cows, and the cows ended up with spreading a zombie-like virus, and the cow's burger was ground up and fed to people, and then people were eating it, and they spread it, like a disease of zombies of sorts to each other. And 18 is making me think of the bill that Biden signed. Was it 3030? That is supposed to take away more and more farmland and give it to the federal government for whatever use. And you see the wraparound that it's about control the food, control the people. if you're controlling the food source and you're taking away any competition for an alternate food source, you know, then the people have to capitulate, or you think the people would have to capitulate, right? So you do as much as you can, like they're doing in Switzerland. You know, telling people that they have to kill off the cows, the cattle, and stuff like that, because these cows are letting off too much greenhouse gas from their toxic waste. You know, their fertilizer basically is letting off too much gas. So they're telling farmers to kill their cattle or have their cattle confiscated and it'll be killed. So, excuse me, that was disgusting. But that's just, as I'm reading it, that's what's just coming to mind. That, you know, and you know, and I was thinking to myself, you know, this all just so happens when people are taking it serious. You know how to do the Passover. How, because now you got to think about it. Is someone really going to want to sell their sheep, sell their goats to you, you know, for the Passover? If they're being told, hey, you know, your cattle, we're taking this stuff away from you, you know, people are going to become like, we got to hold on to the cattle now as much as possible. But you got to remember, in the book of Psalms, we were told that when the days come, there are mountains, right? And these mountains will have, rams in the mountains. And they says those rams are supposed to be used for sacrifices. And remember, we looked them up, and there's that mountain range. I just forget the name of it, but it runs out of, I believe it was Wyoming, maybe even Canada, but it runs right down through Nevada, Arizona, and into, was it that Chihuahua, Mexico? And that mountain range it says that's where the most amount of wild rams can be found in North America. So we know there's a mountain range we all gather to. We'll be able to have the rams provided to us while we're still here to do the Passover and to do the things like we're supposed to. But you see how they, you know, it's like, you know, we're making a move to the right direction, and now they're countering that move. You know. So let's see. To thee, O Ishi, I will cry, because fire hath devoured the beautiful places of the wilderness, and the flame hath burnt all the trees of the country. See, that sounds like nuclear war, right? That sounds like Jeremiah 50, where, was it all the enemies of the North Country will come together at once at night to burn it up? I mean, I know there's some people who say there's beauty in looking at in the wilderness, like in Arizona and stuff like that, Utah. But when I look at the wilderness and I see just, you know, wide open red clay, that's not as beautiful as the forest of, you know, Arkansas, the forest of Mississippi, the forest of Alabama, these places, of Florida. Before it gets in, you know, Florida's. Let's see, it's hard. I love the wilderness of Florida because you can look in the forest and see, you know, so far. And I don't like all that stuff when all the kudzu vines are growing all over it. But that's getting off the point. Yea, and the beast of the field have looked up to thee as a garden bed with a garden bed that thirsty after rain, for the springs of waters are dried up, and fire hath devoured the beautiful places of the wilderness. And I was mentioned I should get an eSword. But here's the thing, I only have my Android, and I've tried multiple times downloading the eSword onto my Android, and I can't. I don't know why. It's not compatible, but it's not. And so if you want to do a video reading from the eSword, so we can compare and contrast, that would be great. So just saying, I'm not ignoring your comment. Just wanted to point that out, that I can't do it on here, and this is my only source to record. So don't own a laptop, don't own a desktop computer or anything like that. So, all right, well, we'll start with Joel. I like the minor prophets, and I figured this is one that I, won't step on anybody's toes, and people are like, "Oh, you're copying me," so that kind of stuff. So we'll go continue from here.